My name is Ada Lovelace, and I was born in London in 1815, a time when women were expected to stay quiet, to sew and smile, not to calculate, question, or dream of engines. But I was never meant to be quiet. My father was Lord Byron, the famous poet whose words burned like fire. He left when I was just a baby, and my mother, Lady Anne Isabella Milbank, feared that I would inherit his passion and instability. So she surrounded me with mathematics, logic, and science, anything that could cool the fever of imagination. But what she didn't realize was that imagination and logic are not enemies. They are twins, and I was born to unite them. From a young age, I was fascinated by the movement of machines. At 12, I tried to design a flying machine made of feathers and steam. A child's dream, perhaps, but one that taught me to see the poetry inside technology. Years later, I met a man named Charles Babbage, a brilliant inventor who had designed the difference engine, a mechanical calculator meant to eliminate human error in computation. When he showed me his plans for a more ambitious machine, the analytical engine, I was mesmerized. Where others saw gears and metal, I saw potential. I saw a machine that could go beyond arithmetic, a machine that could follow instructions, repeat them, and even make decisions. In other words, a machine that could think. In 1842, I was asked to translate an Italian paper about Babbage's analytical engine, but I did much more than translate it. I expanded it, adding my own thoughts, theories, and visions. My notes became 3 times longer than the original paper, and in one of them, I described how the engine could be programmed to perform a complex sequence of operations. That was not just theory. That was the first computer program, written by a woman in the 19th century, long before the first computer was ever built. They called me the Enchantress of Numbers, and I accepted the name, because I did believe there was magic in mathematics. To me, numbers were not cold or lifeless. They were full of rhythm, pattern, and meaning. I once wrote, "The analytical engine does not merely calculate numbers, it weaves algebraic patterns, just as the jacquard loom weaves flowers and leaves." I believed machines could create art, compose music, and even reflect human imagination, a vision far ahead of my time. But being ahead of one's time often comes with loneliness. I faced skepticism, ridicule, and doubt, not because my ideas were wrong, but because I was a woman. Still, I persisted. I believed that knowledge had no gender, and that intellect could not be confined by society's expectations. My health failed me early. I died at the age of 36. The same age as my father, but I left behind an idea that would one day change the world. A century later, when computers were finally built, scientists looked back at my notes and realized I had predicted it all. Today, as you scroll on your screens, write code, or speak to your machines, you are living inside a dream I once had. So, to the young women of today, the scientists, programmers, artists, and inventors, I say this: never let anyone tell you that logic and creativity cannot coexist. Never believe that your ideas are too wild, too complex, or too impossible, because sometimes the impossible is just the future, waiting for someone brave enough to imagine it. I am Ada Lovelace, the poet of numbers, the first programmer, and the woman who believed that imagination could change the machinery of the world.